either your best friend or your cousin is
Mhm.
telling you about a guy, right?
Mhm.
And then you're like, you listen because she's your homie.
Yeah.
Um,
But
yeah.
I admit
So
sometimes it does get kind of lonely. Yeah.
you just living life thinking that, oh, I'm just gonna go in this meeting and I'm just gonna wing it and see how it comes out. And when you're not successful, you start blaming everybody else. Come on, man. You know
Like,
what
stop
it
putting
is.
on a facade and stay catered somebody that you're not.
Stop trying
Become
to look
that.
good and actually,
Actually put in the groundwork.
finish it. Yeah. Finally getting a black teacher that looks like you, that represents you, that's smart. You know, it's just amazing. What's going on, everybody? I am with none other than Kyla Raine. I'm so excited to have her with me on the podcast. She's a student at Howard University, majoring in biology and minoring in Spanish. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm feeling good.
Glad you could be here. So let's talk about it a little bit because you're in New York actually right now.
I am.
You haven't gotten the chance to get on the campus. How
Yeah.
how has that been with quarantine and being at home and doing all your classes in front of a computer screen?
Yeah, it's definitely been a struggle. It's also shown me the power of social media. I've met a lot of my friends. At first I wasn't sure if I was going to make any friends, but it's really shown me the power of social media and its power to connect us. And that's honestly how we're all connecting with each other, um, even though we're not on campus yet. So it's been fun. It's been different but fun.
Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit like what was it like growing up in Long Island? Because that's where you were raised up,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm. I say it's been the best of both worlds because it's like kind of the suburbs, it's quiet, but then you have that 40-minute commute into the city,
Yeah.
Brooklyn, wherever you want to go. So I kind of got the best of both worlds, and
Hmm.
it kind of allowed me to navigate different spaces super easily. So yeah, that's kind of how it's been.
Yeah. So since you're from New York, do you have like a New York accent?
What do you think? I don't think I do. People usually don't tell me I have an accent, but I guess it
No,
depends on who I'm around.
I mean, I guess for me, people they can filter it out and then they can
Hmm.
show it.
Yeah,
So I
definitely.
mean, when we talk, it doesn't sound like you have an accent. Like for
Hmm.
instance, I don't know if I'm saying this right, but New Yorkers may say like talk or something like that.
Or like coffee or
There
something
we
like that.
go.
That's
There
what
we
you think
go.
of.
You
Yeah, it
you
comes
got
out
it.
every
You
once in
got
a
it. You
while,
just be
but
trying to put it under wraps.
I've been downplaying it. I've definitely been
Feel
downplaying
me?
it, but it
Yeah.
comes out sometimes.
Yeah. Um. So you performed at the Apollo when you were 12 years old. How did you even like get onto the path to performing at the Apollo? And like, you were in front of a large group of people. And I remember watching that performance maybe like a few weeks ago, and you're like in this white dress
Oh
looking
my
all
gosh, that dress.
and angelic, hair laid, tell me about that experience for you and what it has done for you in your life.
Yeah, being 12, that experience was kind of life altering. It changed my perspective in the way that it was really grounding, super humbling. I had watched a lot of the greats perform, Lauryn Hill, MJ, just anybody who's anybody. In the music realm, the industry. So it
Yeah.
was extremely grounding, and it kind of informed me and reaffirmed the fact that this is something that I wanted to do for the rest of my life, whether or not it was the focal point of my life. It's something that I wanted to remain constant 100%.
So you posted this maybe a couple months ago on Instagram, and I found this super interesting. I'm just going to read it real quick. Um, so you say, as we approach and are in the midst of a very lively cuffing season, I find myself mildly reflective and introspective. Dating myself, growing as an individual, has been quite uncomfortable. Nice. I kind of think about it as two people, empty glasses, coming together or coming to the table in hopes that the other will fill their empty glasses. There's nothing for the other person. I guess I say all of this to say that I want to at least have a partially full, metaphorically, glass before I try to fill anybody else. What were your thoughts when you were writing that, or or what kind of like struck inside you that made you write that?
Yeah, I think a lot of conversations that I was having with my friends, just about cupping season, I guess, unofficial cupping season, and just sitting with our thoughts in quarantine. I think it just, I think it came from a place of gratitude and
Mhm.
just being happy and content in where I was and in my personal journey before I, decided to share my journey with anybody else. And I kind of wanted to reflect on that and share that with other people, in hopes that they had similar thoughts or similar reflections. So, and I got a lot of good feedback from it as well.
Yeah. Do you feel that can be possibly based off of the experiences that you've had with other people, maybe that you were interested in at, at any point?
And 100%, 100%. My experiences and my reality definitely influences not only my songwriting, but, my little captions under my posts or however I'm feeling any given day.
Hmm. Can you describe yourself in 3 words?
Sure. Um, I'd say curious, compassionate, and introspective.
Why do you say that you're introspective?
I say that I'm introspective just because as I've grown older, I've really started to value listening more than responding. And that's something that I've struggled with my whole life,
Yeah.
just thinking about when to speak, what my values are. So I think as I've gotten older, I've definitely valued introspection more before speaking and, kind of saying what I think about certain issues and etc.
Yeah. Do you feel like that's an issue in relationships today? Like, for example, if a couple is in an argument, they're like people are always looking to see what they're going to say in response so they can get their point across rather than listening to the person and see from listening to the person and see what they're trying to convey from their point of view.
Yeah, definitely. And I also think it depends on what your goal is. If your goal is to be right, or if your goal is to reach a greater understanding with that person. And I think that's not only in relationships or romantic relationships, but platonic relationships and beyond. So definitely.
Yeah. So, since we're in quarantine, we have a lot of downtime on our hands. Do you feel, or are you enjoying the time that you're spending more with yourself, if you are in any light?
Yeah, I'm definitely enjoying it. Of course, we all have days when we're like, oh, I really want to get out. I really want to go back to my life. But other days, I'm like, I'm thriving. So today, I feel like I'm definitely thriving in my solitude, doing what I want to do. Kind of getting myself together before the week starts up again and we go into the holiday season. So definitely.
Do you feel like you're thriving more personally now in quarantine, or were you thriving more before quarantine?
I think it depends on how you define what your thriving is. I think I'm definitely thriving in the way of personal growth in that realm, in the personal growth realm. So yeah, I'd say so. I'm definitely thriving.
Mhm. What are the top 5 artists that have inspired you musically?
Top five. Okay. I have to say Stevie Wonder, Michael Jackson, Leanne LaHavis, Tori Kelly, and Erica Badu. Top five.
Yeah, that's what's up. Do you get your flow for them, or what exactly about those 5 artists or any of them inspires you when you're writing music, when you're singing? You know.
Yeah. I think that just the uniqueness of each artist has definitely subconsciously um, influenced my songwriting style and my style of music in general. Also, just in the plethora of genres that they cover and their different, you know, just their versatility in general has definitely subconsciously affected me. So
Yeah. So since you define yourself as an R&B artist, do you see yourself breaking out of that realm and going into any other field or any other category?
Yeah, it's so funny you asked that. I've been thinking about that a lot. If R&B is where I want to be forever, or if I want to break out. And my answer is yes, definitely. I want to break out into pop, alternative, wherever kind of the wind blows me. That's where I want to go and explore.
Um, what would a guy have to do to grab your attention? Because you're speaking of love in your music, so I know someone's watching who may want to know this.
Okay.
So he's going to take every word of your answer and he's going to live by it until he gets you. So go ahead.
Gosh, there's a lot of pressure. What would a guy have to do to get my attention? He would have to be grounded. That's something I definitely pick up on in like the first few minutes of an interaction. If you're humble, if you just want to know me for me, I think that's what grabs my attention. It's not necessarily the physical or what you look like, but how you treat me and what I can get in those first few interactions.
That's good. Good answer. What are some of your biggest pet peeves when you're dating a guy?
Dating. I don't know if I've ever even officially been in the dating scene, but from
wait, hold up. You've never been in a relationship. I find that hard.
No,
I'm
actually,
because age. But I mean, come on, you've never been in a relationship.
Thank you. Never.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's your biggest pet peeve if you were in a relationship?
If I were in a relationship, it would have to be lack of communication. I think communication is key, as cliche as it sounds. If you can tell me how you're feeling, tell me what you're thinking, and if you're transparent with me, transparency is extremely important to me. If you can't be transparent and you can't communicate, I think that's definitely a pet peeve for me.
What message are you trying to send when you're releasing new music?
I think the number one message I'm trying to send when I'm releasing music is that it's okay to have those feelings. It's okay to feel however you want to feel. I know I especially touched on that topic during Hopeless Romantic. And I also try to preach a little bit of self-sufficiency and self-honesty and being honest with yourself. So I think those are definitely a few through lines throughout my music and my songs in general.
Yeah. What would you say to the young girls that are looking up to you when you're releasing this music, or who may be watching this?
Yeah. To young girls watching this and listening to my music in general, I would say to hone in on what you're passionate about, to cut out the distractions because they're temporary, and to really devote your time and your attention to something that you love, no matter what it is, something that you're passionate about, and to forget these distractions, forget the little trivial, parts of life, and just hone in on what makes you you, because I promise you it will pay off later. Trust me.
Yeah, I love that. So let's get back into the realm of your music holistically. Mm-hmm. You've been releasing music for about 3-4 years, maybe a little longer. So one thing I noticed when I listened to your music, there's a few recurrent themes that I see there, specifically in Hopeless Romantic. You talk about being lonely, wanting love, and stuff like that, and saying like, don't you want hugs? Don't you want this? Don't you want all that stuff?
Yeah.
Tell me about where you were at mentally when you wrote that, or what was going on in your life when you wrote that.
Oh, okay. Great question. What was going on, I guess my kind of thought process was from experience, was dealing with unrequited love and dealing with seeing people around you feeling that lovey-dovey feeling and seeming to be, I don't know, just at peace and wanting that for myself and wondering if I was ever going to feel that too. So, yeah.
Yeah. So
I see people holding hands, and my vision's always running about a man. I always listen, cause she's my homie. But I don't know, sometimes it does get kinda lonely. I guess I gotta wait. way. Be patient and leave it up to fate. But sometimes I can't help but wonder, is there a rainbow after all this rain and thunder? Save a little love for me, but I'm in need of company. Yeah, yeah. Don't you want love? Don't you want hugs? You can't blame me, shouldn't shame me. Don't you want kisses? Someone calling you the missus. You can't blame me, shouldn't shame me. No, no, babe. B, how do I make you see I'm everything you need? Don't you sit up at night thinking, wish I had someone to talk to, that I could tell all that I'm going through, judgment free. I know you sit up at night thinking, really wish that I could feel that, how it feels when someone has you back, guaranteed. Don't you want love? Don't you want hugs? You can't blame me, shouldn't shame me. Don't you want kisses? Someone calling you the missus. You can't blame me, baby, shouldn't shame me. No, no.
Would you say that seeing other people or successfully or not successfully affected you mentally, like with your self-worth? Like maybe I'm not good enough, or maybe like why am I not doing what they're doing? Because I know, to be real, I've had those same thoughts. Like when I'm on Instagram and then I see this person accepted to this school, I'm like, why am I not accepted into that school? What's wrong with Robert that I'm not doing what they're doing? And that's
Right.
part of the reason why I suppress the idea and my urge to go on social media for those reasons, because then I start comparing myself.
Right. Definitely. I think it happens to all of us. I think it happens to the best of us. That self-comparison, that comparing your life to other people and their social media lives is definitely always there. I think that's when my spirituality comes in and my religion comes in, and just reminding myself that I have a greater purpose, and that no one person's journey looks the same as someone else's. So just reminding myself that everything will happen in God's timing and in due time for me, whether I'm impatient or not.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. You said your spirituality and your faith. How has that helped you in seasons of not feeling like enough, seasons of having an urge to be loved or have someone that you want to love? What has God done for you, or what have you been able to use from your Christianity?
Yeah, I think God has definitely filled that void and that question for me, and reminding me whose I am, and reminding me of my path, and that my path has already been ordained, whether I have feelings of impatience or not. It's already set out for me. I just have to have faith, walk in it, walk in my purpose, and just trust from there. So
How has God filled those voids for you?
I think just by giving me hope and giving me courage to continue in my path, whether I'm sure of it or not. So yeah, that's definitely how.
So good. That's so good. Especially like, cause you're only 18, right? So
Yeah, me
hearing
too.
that is so refreshing. Yeah, it's good to know. I know a lot of times people who are Christians or believe in faith, things like that, they run away from having those conversations because they feel like they'll be judged or whatever it may be. But
Right,
I think that's so. I mean, I think that's a blessing. Let me say that
right.
you are where you are, and that you have that foundation to stand off of, and then you have confidence in that.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
What experiences that you've gone through that you talk about in Hopeless Romantic, because it's such a descriptive story, because I hear you talk about either your best friend or your cousin is telling you about a guy, right?
Hmm.
And then you're like, you listen because she's your homie.
Yeah.
Um,
But
yeah,
I
so
admit sometimes it does get kind of lonely. Yeah.
right. So tell me about that. How do you deal with that? And how have you grown from being alone? Because I feel that you can grow when you're by yourself sometimes because you don't have a lot of distractions and a lot of energy around you that's pulling
Hmm.
you away from doing what you got to do.
Yeah. I think it's just a matter of, just because you want that for yourself doesn't mean you're not happy for someone. And I think you can definitely grow in your loneliness, just by maturing as an individual. I think that goes back into my post and, coming with two full glasses, or at least being
Hmm.
half full, being who you are and being grounded in who you are before continuing that journey with someone else. So
How
definitely.
have you learned to be more grounded in who you are and accept you for yourself?
I think by calling myself out on my, I don't want to say toxic traits, but things I need to work on as an individual, and being honest with myself and being like, no, you're not perfect. No, it's not always the other person. Sometimes it's you. Sometimes you're the problem, or you're blocking your own path. So I think that's how I've stayed grounded, by staying honest with myself.
Do you focus on things that you want to work on before you get into that committed relationship? If so, what are those things that you're focusing on? Because I know
Yeah.
communication is big for you
Yeah.
already.
I think I'm working on not being so presumptuous,
Mm.
as in using that as a defense mechanism. I'm learning to just let people be who they are, and just seeing how it plays out, and not having my own preconceived notions of who someone is, or who they should be. So
That is something that you struggle with, people's opinion. How do people's opinion affect you? Do you think that like when you're writing music, like I don't know if this person is gonna like that, or how does that affect you? Um, yeah, when someone thinks about you, because of course, like as an artist, you're gonna want to cater to your audience.
mhm.
So
Yeah, I think other people's opinions definitely create that kind of internal, they have kind of a cognitive dissonance between what I want to do and I know what I want to do, versus what people say and what I see people are consuming and what they want in terms of music. But I just remind myself that what I have to offer is unique, just because it's coming from me, and that someone's going to be feeling it, and there's always going to be five people that aren't going to be feeling it. But I'm not making music for people that are not going to be feeling it. I'm making the music for the people that will love it and appreciate it. So yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. Is that everything I wanted to say on that? I think that's mostly you got down there. You got down. That was
Didn't
good.
come to play. Didn't come to play.
Didn't come to play.
Yes, sir.
Um, yeah, okay. Christmas, yo, intro. I think we good.
Good.
I think the only thing that I wouldn't want to talk about is like New York. Like what makes New York home for you?
What makes New York home for me is the diversity. The diversity, not only in places you
Mm.
can go, you have the burbs, you have Long Island, you have upstate, you have the city. Just the diversity and the melting pot that is New York, and the people and the amazing characters that are New Yorkers. I think that's what makes New York feel like home, and what keeps me coming back, and what makes me think that no other place on earth compares to New York. So
So what's the difference between Long Island, Manhattan, and Brooklyn? You got Uptown, you said, and what's the difference?
I kind of say it's like day and night. Um, you definitely need a car in Long Island to get around. It's the suburbs, it's quaint, it's quiet. You have the white picket fences and nice
Mm.
restaurants and everything like that. And I say once you get closer to Brooklyn, Manhattan, it's more of a melting pot, which I love, and what keeps me, commuting back and forth. It's a big difference. I think you'd have to come out here to see it.
Well,
Um,
I'm coming. Trust
oh
that. I'm
yeah,
coming.
yes. Listen, I got a tour
About to
ready
get
whenever
that
you're ready.
Trinidadian food. You about to We'll pull up to that restaurant. We're gonna get some
Pull up
good.
to Queens. Yeah.
I'm pulling up. Yeah.
All right. Just let me know.
Yeah, for real, for real. But yeah, I appreciate you coming on the podcast today, Kyla.
Of course. Thank you so
No
much.
other
for having
podcast
me.
like this. We are the sharpest podcast on the planet. Got my girl in the building, Kyla Raine, the podcast that will elevate your life. I'll see you on the next one.